and I took a class on social science research methods from a professor, Bill Adams. He's still there. He's still a friend of mine. In fact, he came to my house this Thanksgiving for dinner. Okay, great guy. He's been there for many years. And his class, probably this is the thing I remember from my entire master's program more than anything else, said that if you want to establish cause and effect among populations, you have to do three things. You have to make sure that X precedes Y, that X and Y covary, and there are no Z's. What's a Z? That's another cause. Now, if you just say correlation proves causation, you have committed a logical fallacy. One thing coming before another causes the thing. Now, this is a rooster crowing, obviously, and the rooster crows just before the sun comes up normally. Now, does X precede Y? Yes, the rooster is crowing before the sun comes up. Do X and Y covary? I mean, if you get more roosters crowing, you get more suns coming up. Fewer roosters crowing, well, it kind of breaks down here. How about other causes? No Z's. No, it's not like that you could just get a whole bunch of roosters crowing and the sun will come up more, right? The rooster is not causing the sun to come up, even though the rooster and the sun are satisfying point one. Yes, X precedes Y, right? There are other causes for the sun coming up. In fact, the rooster has nothing to do with it. Actually, it's the sun coming up that causes the rooster to crow, right? It's backwards. Now, two other things inside baseball before we move on. This is another thing that is sometimes done that can't be done on social science data. You can't apply aggregate data to individuals. What I mean by it, suppose in the New York City Marathon, we discover that blacks, the average time is 3 hours, right? Can we then take that data and go, see this guy right here? He finished in 3 hours. No. You can't apply aggregate data to individuals. And this is where racism sometimes comes in. You know, all white people are like this, so you must be like that, right? All black people are like this, so you must be like that if you're in that category. No. Because when we say all, we don't mean 100%, right? If it were true that 100%, then okay, you could say that. But that's not the way it works. Also, if you're trying to figure out how you got to a particular place in a race, let's call the race of life. Can you tell me how you got to where you are right now? In fact, if I were to ask you this question, what caused you to get to where you are now in the race of life? Let's say your finances. Can you tell me all the causes that went into that? Can you tell me all the causes that went into your physical health right now? Can you tell me all the causes as to where you are vocationally right now or mentally or spiritually? No, if I were to ask you right now, you couldn't tell me. Oh, you could give me some big events. You could say, here are some decisions I made that contributed to this, either good or bad. Or you could say, these are some breaks I got, or these are some bad breaks I got, that contributed to it. Or here are some decisions other people made that affected me, or some decisions I made that affected me, but you couldn't say that, how much did God get involved? How much providence was involved? Maybe there was a miracle that occurred. Maybe there was something else I don't even know about, right? You couldn't even tell me where you or how you got to where you are now, and yet people in social science research are going to tell us how the aggregate got to where they are now. They're approximating at best. Do you see the point? It's hard to figure this stuff out. So don't buy into these easy associations. It's not that easy. How about this? Let me ask you this question. Is racism alone responsible for the differences in outcomes between whites and blacks? I hope by now you're going to say no, because there's so many other causes, right? Might it be part of it? Yep. Certainly. Certainly was much more pronounced in the past, right, than it is now. Let me ask another question. Is racism alone responsible for the difference in outcomes between whites, blacks, and Asians? Ooh, Frank, you threw a monkey wrench in there. You put Asians in there. Why'd you do that? Because do you know that Asians outperform whites and blacks in our country academically at Ivy League institutions? In fact, Harvard got into trouble recently because they thought they had too many Asians. So what they did is they jacked up the qualifications for Asians, lowered it a little bit for whites, and lowered it further for blacks to try and get some diversity, right? What happens when that? What happens to the students when they go to a school they're not really qualified to go to? They wind up flunking out, right? This man right here, Ibram Kendi, that's not him. He says, we have a hard time recognizing that racial discrimination is the sole cause of racial disparities in this country and the world at large. Has he ever read a book on social science research? Because you would never say that about virtually anything. There are so many other choices. He's suggesting that just racism knocks down one domino, and that's the result we get now.